Alright, normally I don't talk about things that aren't related to Godzilla, so I'm going to switch things up a bit. I just got this Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi Spider-Man 2.0 in today. I've been looking forward to this figure for quite a while now, actually, ever since it got announced, I don't know, maybe 6-7 months ago. It's finally here, just got it from Japan, so I'm going to open it up and take a quick look at it. One thing I do want to say that I am a little bit, I don't know, disappointed isn't really the right word, just kind of, well, I guess it is the right word, never mind. I am a little bit disappointed because Amazing Yamaguchi is a company that is, or a brand, or line, whatever you want to call it, that is kind of renowned for having very extravagant looking boxes. Pulling one out right now, here is, I looked at this on stream, but here is the Amazing Yamaguchi Endeavor box. I mean, it is just loaded with promo pics and stills from the show. I mean, literally every part of this box is just covered with photos. If I open up, oh come, did I open it from this side? Whatever. If you open up the side flap, there's even stuff right here. You can't see it, it's not in focus. Even the tabs here have stuff on them. So the kind of minimalist, almost not arty-farty, but just kind of like the minimalist packaging is not underwhelming. It's just not really what I expected from Revoltech. Because like I said, normally when people see Amazing Yamaguchi, they think of boxes like this, but this is what we have instead. So it's not really a negative, it's just kind of a different thing, I guess. We have a very simple tray here. Got the figures, got the interchangeable eye parts, web shooting webs. These are the web, like the armpit webs that go like the wings, I guess. And then this is like a little, I don't know, spray of webs. I don't know what you call it. And interesting, normally the hands are on the main tray. The hands are on this little sprue bracket thing with the stand, the claw. Looks like there's a magnetic claw as well right here. Normally the hands would be on the main tray. Normally they'd be like right here or whatever. Normally the figure's actually in the middle with all the accessories around him, but this is a little bit different, so I'll get this opened up. Now this is something I've never seen before. This is, I mean, it's still plastic wrap, but it's a different type of plastic. It's almost like that thin plastic bag. You know, I don't know how best to describe it, but I've never seen it packaged, a figure like this before. Normally there's just like one or two around the waist or the hips, maybe some in the chest. So this is not overkill, but much appreciated, I guess. Alright, out of the package. I've been playing around with this guy for about 10, 15, 20 minutes right now, and first impressions, it's a really, really good figure. It's a really nice piece. I like it a lot. I think it's worth the money, just right off the bat. I think it's worth the money. A couple things I'm going to go over, just kind of nitpicks, negatives, but I'll go through the figure, show you what's going on with it, and why I think this is really good. So just taking a quick overview of the sculpt and paintwork. It is a really nice looking figure to begin with. Looks just like Spider-Man. I mean, there's no mistaking who this is. In fact, before I even get into that, I just want to get this in focus. I'm going to put a photo here of the original Amazing Yamaguchi Spider-Man and just how crazy the proportions were on that, and how like ridiculous and out of whack and kind of disgusting that figure looked. It looked great in action poses, but just in up-down vanilla pose, it wasn't the greatest thing to look at. This isn't really anatomically correct either, in terms of proportions. It does look a bit spindly, but it's Spider-Man. But I mean, compared to the old one, it's light years ahead, and it looks really good just standing in a vanilla pose. But getting back to the sculpt and detail and paint, like I said, it looks exactly like Spider-Man. You can't mistake this for who it is. All of the red bits, you know, nice shiny deep dark red. Same thing with the blue, shiny deep dark blue. The blue parts have a slight texture to them, not to the level of like a Mafex or a Figuarts figure, but there is some sort of leathery, scaly, you know, basketball-y type texture to the blue parts. But the red parts have the classic web design. There isn't really any sculpting to it aside from the sculpted in lines, with some black paint in the lines as well to make them stand out really well. Zooming in, you know, you can kind of see all the sculpted web lines. They look really good. There is a little, some areas are a bit more prominent than others when it comes to the application of the web lining, but I mean it is pretty uniform all around, and you can kind of see that texture I was talking about, that basketball sort of leather type texture right there on the legs and on the chest. Taking a quick look at the Spider logo in the promo pics, the color, you can see that there's a little white outline on the Spider. In the promo pics, if I remember right, it almost looked more green with like a glowing effect. And I know there is a Spider-Man that has a logo that looks like that, but I don't know which one it is, and I don't really care. If I were designing this figure, this would just be a solid black without the outline. But as it stands right now, it looks more off-white than green, at least in this lighting and into the camera and just kind of to my naked eye. It's not white like his eyes, but it's like an off-white, and so it looks good, but I would have preferred just a straight black, but as it stands now, it looks fine as well. This logo or the Spider on the back, you can see it goes over onto his shoulder blades, onto his traps, and as you move his traps forward, just kind of like or his lats I should say, if you move them forward, you can see that there's some legs and sculpting underneath to make the Spider complete if you move his lats forward or back. But in a neutral pose, yeah, it looks good. One thing that isn't really a negative, it's just kind of personal preference, is that the musculature is a bit too extreme for my liking. I think Spider-Man is always like very slim and slender and lean, but I never really think of him as like having massive amounts of striation, at least not to this degree where, you know, you can literally see every tendon, every muscle, and, you know, if he does a lat spread like this, you know, you can kind of imagine like every muscle. His calves are huge. You know, he never skips leg day apparently, so, you know, good for him. So that's kind of sculpt wise. My only complaint, proportion wise, he's fine. Actually, proportion wise, I think he's really good. It's just that the musculature is a little bit too extreme for my liking, but I mean, it's fine. The only thing I really don't like in terms of sculpt are the feet, which is really weird to say, but they kind of look like they're getting into foot binding. I think some traditional feet, I don't know, I just don't really like the way the feet look. The fact that only the heel and the toe make contact with the ground or with the floor or whatever, and they're kind of small too, kind of make it look a little bit weird. I don't have anything else to compare it to what I would like it to be. But yeah, the feet are the only part that I can really say I'm not the biggest fan of and wish they redesigned, because as it stands right now, they look a bit weird. Taking a look at the head sculpt, looks really good. Paint is nice and crisp and clean. No complaints there. Looks like Spider-Man. I don't know what else I can say. Going over some posability, because this thing is an amazing Yamaguchi figure, you kind of need to. This guy is loaded with posability. It's kind of crazy. The head is on a ball joint, and when you pop the ball joint off, you'll see that it is actually on a Mafex style peg where there's a little, if I can get it in focus, there's a little kickback right there, which when you put the head on allows for a greater range of motion up. Getting the head back on is a bit tricky. Boom, there There we are. So with the head on, you can look all the way up, no problem. Look anywhere you want. The neck moves in tandem with the head. There is a little bit of a gap that pops up when you move the head up too much, but just move it back down to seal it up. No worries there. It looks down really well, so yeah, posability in the neck and head is really good. The lats slash traps slash chest is one assembly piece that moves back and forth on both sides. The only negative is that the logo gets covered up when you move the traps, or the chest I should say, forward a bit too much. So if you have both sides, come on. So if you have both sides moved up forward as far as they can, they cover up the legs. I know their Batman and I think their Superman does that, which isn't the greatest, but I mean, whatever. Arm is on one of those swivel hinge ball joint things, so you can move it all the way up, no problem. There is a ball joint connecting the actual arm to the shoulder joint, so that can move around as well, rotate. Twist in the elbow. It's pretty much the exact same joint as far as I can tell in the elbow. The same joint in the shoulder, I should say. You get some wiggle room in there. It's all nice, very well designed. Solid joints as well. And then swivel hinge swivel in the wrist. So yeah, pretty good. In the chest, just a nice ball joint. Moves anywhere you want. Nice solid joint. No concerns there. In the waist, it looks like you're gonna have the stomach area, a little belt piece, and then the actual hip crotch area, and so that moves all the way around. Yeah, no complaints with the chest articulation. It looks really good, feels really good as well. For the legs, Amazing Yamaguchi has a weird system, but you can move the legs this far up, but they do come out a bit. Not that far back, out to the side, but it's also at a weird angle. There's a swivel in the actual leg itself, but then there's a swivel in the thigh right here, so you can bring the leg up, move the leg out, so you can get a lot of crazy motions with that. A single hinge in the knee, but that goes all the way up. There's a little bit of a spike that comes out from the kneecap. I don't really mind, it looks fine. The knee functions perfectly fine, so I don't really care. At the boot, there is a bit of a cutout, as you can see right here. And so that allows the leg, I guess the shin, to move back and forth, which, I mean, that's not anatomically correct, but it's the extra bit of motion that's always good. And then in the ankle, kind of the same thing, swivel hinge, swivel, so up and down, rotate, ankle rocker. The bottom of the leg is cut out, as you can see here, so you can just get a really nice ankle rocker, no problem. And then the toe joint, which is nice and tight going up, but going down it's a bit loose. I'm not applying much pressure. It's the same thing over here, although I don't really think these toe joints are meant for stability. They're just meant for extra articulation and whatever. So yeah, when I get to the end of the review, when I start posing this guy around a bit, he looks great, he feels great. In terms of articulation, he's really good. Probably one of the better Amazing Yamaguchi figures I have, because a lot of the only ones I have are the My Hero Academia figures, and some of those can get a bit on the bulky side. But yeah, really great piece in terms of articulation, and probably one of the better articulated Spider-Mans out there, as far as I'm concerned. Alright, moving on over to accessories, we have a few to talk about. First we're going to go through the hands, because they're all conveniently on this little tree. All the hands have the exact same red color with the black paint for the webbing. As you can see here, we have two pairs of every hand. We have thwipping hands, sort of like wall crawling hands, very exaggerated pose, somewhat relaxed hands, slightly less relaxed hands, but still not like actiony, I guess, and then almost gripping hands, I guess. I don't know, they're not quite wall crawling hands, although I guess you could use them as wall crawling hands. So when I get to the other accessories, just pop them on and off the peg and put them on the Spider-Man figure. So pretty good there. You get 3 different types of web effects. The first one, actually I'll show you this one. The first one is just the standard web, nice sort of sculpt web, sort of intertwining look. It's nice. It's a green color. It's a translucent green, but then it gets a frosted tip at the end here. Ha ha ha. The other web effect is sort of this like outward spraying effect. I kind of think of that scene from Amazing Spider-Man 2. Unfortunately, I have to think of that movie when you kind of like plug the end of the hose and then it sprays further out. I don't know what I'm saying. So then you have the web wings. This goes on the back of the figure underneath the armpits. So I'll attach those later. And then you have pairs of interchangeable eyes. You have very small, very wide, and then very surprised, I guess. I don't know how you describe it. And then you also get a little tool here to help pick out the eyes. So I'll show you how to do that. So here you have your Spider-Man head popped off the body. You can see little black holes in the back of the head right there. All you got to do is take the end of the pick, push the eye out like so. Now you can take whatever, if I can get the little clamshell open, and also try not to drop these either, because you'll probably, oh damn it, well I dropped them, but whatever. So I put on the super squinted eyes. You can mix and match to your heart's content. If you want to do, you know, like the super wide eye in one and the super closed eye in the other, go ahead. Otherwise, if you want to just put the matching eyes together, you know, whatever. It's your Spider-Man figure. It took me 3 minutes to put all the eyes back together because I dropped them. God damn it. So moving on to the web effects, you can see that there is a little hole right there it is on the thwip hands, which allows you to take either of the like main attack webs, whatever, and just put the thwip hand with the web inside the thwip hand like that. Works really well. But you can also take this effect and place it inside the thwip hand as well, so he's like covering a larger area with one thwip. But one thing you can also do with this effect, just take the default fist hands and then plug them into that, if I can get it, come on. Plug them into the regular fist hands, and then you can basically have this be him grabbing onto his web or swinging around. So these web shooting effects double as regular web shooting webs or as equipping webs, which is really nice. And all the hands just attach really easily. All you got to do is line up the hole, which on the thwip hands is going to be towards the thumb, and just put it on the peg. There you are. It's at a weird angle, so just twist around the wrist to get it pointed at the proper angle that you want. Otherwise, yeah, just leave it at that. For the webs on the back, there's a little peg hole right here, little peg on the web. Just put that. So is this supposed to be the other way? Is it supposed to go like this? Hang on. Let's try it this way. Let's consult the instructions. Oh, never mind. So you're gonna want to have the tab facing in like this, and then that'll act like the web wing. You move his arm back, and from the front, it's an okay effect. It's not my favorite. I won't ever use them, so I mean, it's whatever. You take it or leave it. The final accessory, just a regular stand here. Multiple holes to port the stand in wherever you want. A couple of ball joints. Get this in focus, Jesus Christ. A couple of points of articulation. Here's the end of that. It does come with a kind of standard action figure clip. The joints actually not too bad, not too loose, not too tight. But it also does come with an angled adapter, so if you want to get a little bit more height in, just plug it in at the end like that, and you can angle it a bit different. But it also comes with this, which is a little magnetic adapter that you can take the stand off and place inside, if I can get it. Place inside like this, and then put the figure on like a fridge or something, or a magnetic wall that you might have. If I had it my way, I probably would have just been able to put the clip on here so I could have him wall crawling, but the fact that you can, like in the instructions, if you look in the instructions, they say that you can angle it to make it look like he's kind of looking down, which isn't a bad idea, so glad they had it. I just kind of would have liked to be able, if I could pop this out, there we are, if I could just take the magnet, put the clip on here like this, and call it a day. So we're going to be doing a few size comparisons here. The first one I got for you is going to be the Godzilla NECA 1985/84 figure. As you can see, they're kind of about the same height. My camera is looking down on him, but looking out on a level field, yeah, they're about the same height. They're actually pretty close. The other one I got, NECA 2014, probably my favorite NECA figure. Actually, this one's pretty good too. But Godzilla's actually a little bit shorter than Spider-Man. Actually, I don't know, maybe half a centimeter. So, pretty decent size there. Next, I don't know why I'm bringing this out. It's just what I have out. I have the Mafex Gigantor, which is quite a bit taller than Spider-Man. So I'm going to be cross-promoting between these two, but I don't know why I would anyway. And then the last comparison, the Full Power Broly. Yeah, he's literally head, shoulders, and chest taller than Spider-Man, so that won't work either. So, I mean, if you want to. Actually, this one might work, because Broly's gigantic, so it probably would work. So here I got a nice sort of swing and pose, shooting like the spray web, whatever you want to call it. I had no issues whatsoever getting this guy into this pose. Yeah, all the joints move really smoothly, really nicely. I think the engineering, the painting, the sculpting, the aesthetics of the figure, with the exception of the overly extreme musculature. Yeah, I think this guy is a really great piece, and I really do enjoy this guy a lot. Really glad I got him. Got him in a somewhat similar pose here, but a bit different. Yeah, I am really glad I got this guy. I would highly recommend getting him if you have any interest in getting Spider-Man, especially after the interesting first attempt that Yamaguchi had with this character. The minor nitpicks I have, like the white on the spider logo and the kind of overly extreme musculature, I can excuse, because this guy is just a really fun piece to mess with. Some interesting articulation aside as well. He moves so well, looks really good, and it's just a great piece to look at overall. So, final thoughts, in case you guys couldn't tell, I really do like this figure a lot. I think, like I keep saying, engineering, sculpting, posability, paint, aesthetics are really great on this guy. I was actually considering canceling the pre-order for this, because I mean, I don't really do anything with my Yamaguchi figures. I only have the My Hero figures, so Spider-Man would just kind of be awkward. But then I saw Across the Spider-Verse, and that was like one of the greatest movies I've ever seen in theaters, and I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna keep it. And I'm glad I did, because this guy looks really awesome. He moves great, looks great, is great. So yeah, I think that's probably gonna do it for my review. At the end of the day, high marks for me. Really recommend this guy. If you have any interest at all in picking this guy up, do so, because really great piece. I keep saying it, but I mean, it might be a contender for figure of the year. I haven't gotten many figures this year. Previous contenders are that new Shin Godzilla and that new Vegeta, although there are some really good figures coming out at the end of the year too, so that might be, I don't know, thinking aloud. But this guy, really awesome. I think he's on the higher end of amazing Yamaguchi, and he's going to be my end-all be-all Spider-Man. Been waiting for a good Spider-Man for the shelf, and I think I found it, so I'm really glad about that. Alright, thanks for watching the review. Check out the rest of the videos on my channel. Go check me out on Instagram. And I don't think I've ever promoted this on the channel, but go to my Letterboxd. That's the most active social media I have, because I'm updating that on pretty much a daily basis, even multiple times a day if I watch multiple movies a day. But yeah, I'm watching something pretty much every day, at least one thing every day, and I'll update the Letterboxd, and you'll see my reviews, anything else that I might put up there, like lists or my watch list for things that I'm interested in watching. So if that interests you at all, go check that out, because that's where I'm most active. So yeah, like I said, this is my end-all be-all Spider-Man. I really do enjoy it. So yeah, see you later.
That's crispy.
Well, that's nice of him.